Okay, so welcome back to the sessions. So we are in day 17 session. So today we are going to discuss about what file handling in Java. So basically, you also can consider this file handling concept as IO streams, meaning that input, output, okay, stream. So first of all, you need to understand what do you mean by input stream, what do you mean by output stream. All these things, when you get a clarity with respect to theoretical, then we can see practical itself. Okay. So first of all, what do you mean by stream? It is a flow of data in between primary memory to secondary memory, in between primary memory to secondary memory, vice versa. Flow of data in between primary memory to secondary memory and secondary memory to primary memory. Who is the primary memory in our machine? Of course, it is RAM. So who is the secondary memory? Who is the secondary memory? Of course, our second hard disk, something like pen drive, floppy disk. Okay, so many external storage devices all can be considered as what secondary devices. Your primary memory is what RAM, random access memory, and it is ROM. Okay, so now the point I wanted to tell you here, stream is something like on top of the files, on top of files. Okay, we can perform two types of operations. Okay, we can perform two types of operations. What are those? Okay, what are those? Tell me. One is a read operation, another one is what a write operation. Okay, so one is read operation, another one is a write operation. So what do you mean by read operation? What do you mean by write operation? You need to understand. So read operation meaning is, already I have a file which contains some data, now I wanted to read, meaning that accessing the data. Okay, whatever the data you stored in that file, you're trying to like what access the data. So accessing the data is something like reading the data. Okay, this is okay. What do you mean by input stream? What do you mean by input stream? Tell me. Reading the data or accessing the data from the file. So where file is available? Of course, in our external device. That means a secondary, or else how can I say? It is a hard disk. It is a secondary memory device. Primary, it's not a primary memory. It's a secondary memory device. Okay, primary memory is our RAM only. Secondary memory is what our hard disk, something like secondary memory device. Whatever it might be. It might be your hard disk, it might be your pen drive, whatever it means. Our file is available in the secondary memory device. Since you are performing the read operation or input operation, the data flow is happening from secondary memory to primary memory, because of our program is getting executed in the primary memory only, in the JVM. JVM is the part of RAM only. So RAM is the second primary memory. So ultimately, my point is very clear. While you are performing the read operation, the data flow is happening from secondary memory to primary memory. In the same manner, while you are performing the write operation. Write operation means what? You are trying to storing the data into somewhere into a file. So if this is the case, data flow is going to be happening from primary memory to secondary memory. Okay, then only the data is going to be stored in the corresponding file. Of course, the file is available in the secondary memory. So you need to understand, when you are performing the read operation, from where to where the data flow is happening. While you are performing the write operation, okay, data flow is happening from which memory to which memory. So you should be very clear. So read operation can be considered as input stream. Write operation can be considered as what's a output stream itself. Okay, output stream means what's a data flow. Data flow is happening from so primary memory to secondary memory. Input stream means what? Data flow is happening from secondary memory to primary memory. In this way, you need to understand. Okay, here you need to understand one more point. Okay, so after we discussed on top of the files, okay, we are performing two types of operation. One is read operation, another one is write operation. Read operation is nothing but the input stream. So here the data flow is happening from secondary memory to primary. Sorry, read operation, right? Yeah, secondary memory to primary memory. So write operation is nothing but it is an output stream. Here the data flow is happening from primary memory to secondary memory, since the data is supposed to be stored, okay, permanently. So this is how exactly we need to understand the theoretical information. Here I wanted to ask one question. So what is that question? Um, what is that question? So what is that question? Here, one second. Right. So while the data flow is going to be happening. See, data flow itself is what we call, stream, right? So here the data flow is happening in two forms. Data flow is happening in two forms. Okay, that means we do have two types of streams are available in Java. One is byte stream. Okay, another one is a character stream. So character stream. In case of character stream, the data flow is happening character by character, character by character, character character is taking how many bytes of memory space? 2 bytes. 2 bytes means what? 16 bits. So 16 bits, byte by byte means what? Character by character means what? 16 bits at a time. So in case of byte stream, since one byte is taking what? 8 bits itself, right? So byte by byte transferring, byte by byte. So that means 8 bits at a time. 8 bits at a time. This is what you need to understand. This is what you need to understand. Yes, they are providing different predefined class. See, one more. So what my point is here, while you are performing this read and write operations, okay, you may go for what? Byte stream related classes. You may choose character stream related classes based on the requirement. For example, if your requirement is to, okay, perform, for example, I wanted to read the data from the text file, I wanted to write the data into a text file, then happily go for what? Character stream related classes. For example, I wanted to read the binary data, okay, or else I wanted to like what? Read the file from the raw data, okay, raw file. So image, if you really wanted to perform or processing any binary related data, perform any operations on top of the binary data, then you please go for what? The choose byte stream related classes. So according to the requirement, we have to choose the corresponding related predefined classes to achieve our requirement itself. So we'll try to like what? See few character stream related classes, few byte stream related classes. So as part of our demonstrations. Okay. So but you need to understand, uh, ultimately my conclusion and then the achievement is to store the data, read the data. What kind of data you are reading, what kind of data you are storing, that is the point. Based on that, you have to choose either byte stream related classes, character stream related classes. In case of byte stream related classes, the data flow is going to be happening byte by byte. That means 8 bits at a time. In case of character stream related classes, okay, the data flow is going to be happening character by character. Internally, character stores 2 bytes of memory space. 2 bytes means what? 16 bits. So that means 16 bits at a time. This is how exactly we need to understand. So all these byte stream, character stream related classes, where exactly these stream related classes are available. So that is a java.io package. So that is the reason node point is what? To handle, to file, to perform any operations on top of the files, or to store the data into the file, or to read the data into the file. Definitely, we may require some predefined classes. All those are available inside the java.io package. So make sure you have to import corresponding predefined class. Then only you are able to create the object of those classes. Otherwise, you will get the compile time error, class not found exception. All right, sir. So see, now we will see first character stream related classes we have seen, and then we will see byte stream related classes also. Okay. So first, what are the character stream related classes? Before character stream related classes, I already gave some basic information regarding this. Uh, so as I said, in case of character stream related classes, the data flow or streaming is going to be happening character by character or 16 bits at a time. What are the character stream related predefined classes frequently used are there? File reader is there. Okay. Buffer reader is there. Okay. These two classes are for what? Performing, okay, read operations. Read operations means what? To read the data from the file. Read operation, or you can also call it as what? Input stream. Input stream related classes. Input stream means what's a read operation. In the same manner, to perform the read operation, they are giving two classes. One is file reader, another one is what a buffer reader. And in the same manner, to perform the write operation, okay, to perform the come on please, to perform the write operation, they are providing few predefined classes, frequently used predefined classes. Those are file writer, F capital, W capital, file writer, buffered writer, okay, buffered writer, okay, and then print writer. So these are the characters. Few, I'm not saying all these are the character stream related classes. Again, so many are there, but these are the very frequently used character stream related classes to perform read and write operations, or to perform input stream and output stream. To perform write operation, or this one also you can call it as what? Output stream operations. Output means what? We are trying to store the data. Input means we are trying to read the data. In this way, you please try to remember. So we will see. Yes, you may ask one question, sir. To perform the read operation, or to read the data from the file, if they gave one predefined class, that is enough. Now, why they are giving two classes? Or in the same manner, to perform the write operations, why they are giving more than one class? So again, we do have some differentiations are there. Practically, we will see itself. But before this, you need to understand, if you really wanted to read the data or write the data, first we need a file supposed to be existed. How can you create the file? So that is also important, right? How can we create the file in Java? How can we create the file in Java? So using file class. Okay, using file class. If you want, I will show you also, sir. File class API. Come on, please. File class API in Java. Let me try to like what? Okay, open the API documentation. Here you see, sir. Okay, here, one second. Here you see java.io.file, meaning that file is a class available inside the java.io package. The extending from object class, implementing from serializable, comparable, like this we have. So if you are observe, okay, few constructors are there, few methods are there. Okay, to create the file, we are going to like what? Use one predefined method. What is this? Tell me. Create new file, meaning that after you create the file object, you supposed to like what? Invoke this create new file method. For example, sir, okay, let me try to like what? Create one package here. Right click here. Okay, new. I will show you how to create the file. New package com.jsc.ios. IOS means what? Input output stream, like that. Okay, any name you can give. Package name, user class names, and all these are what? User defined. Okay, test one I am giving, and inside this test one, I am trying to write. See here, define this. Define the main method. Define the main method. Now I'm going to like what? Create the file object, file class object. File class object. How can you create? Tell me. File f equal to, come on please, new file of, okay, here abc.txt. While I'm creating the file, I'm providing the name also. Okay, but immediately I'm getting the error. If you keep the cursor, okay, import is required because file is available inside the IO package. It is not available inside the lang package. If any class or interface available inside the lang package, you no need to import the classes explicitly, because java.lang package is the by default imported package, as I said. So if any class, if any particular property you want to import, or else you want to use, if that is not available inside the java.lang, explicitly you have to import, make sure. Okay, that is the reason Control Shift O is for importing the, okay, shortcut. Okay, I have created the file. So immediately after this system.out.println file created successfully, I am writing one message. Instead of message, to check whether the really file is getting created or not, we do have one method is there. What is that method? Tell me. Exists method. Sir, exists method return type is what, sir? Boolean. If really file is getting created, it will return true. If really file is not created, it is returning the false. So in our case, what you are expecting, of course, true, right? If I run this application, okay, we are getting the false, file created successfully. So, sir, we are getting false. That means file created as successfully or not, sir? File is not created. Sir, if the file is where the file is created, wherever you are saving the programs in the same directory, it is going to be like what? Same. For example, sir, if I refresh, where is the refresh option? I'm not seeing. Yeah, here it is there. Even though I'm refreshing, I'm not seeing any file here. So because just by object creation, giving the file name is not enough, sir. Once the object is created of the file, you have to call one method. What is this method? Tell me. Create new file method. Sir, create new file method is throwing one exception. Sir, if any method is throwing any exception, if you are calling that method, that statement is also comes under problematic statement. So better you try to like what keep it inside the try and catch block. Try and catch block itself. Okay. So up to here I am keeping. So but which exception it is a create new file method is throwing which exception? Tell me. IO exception. So you have to maintain this IO exception, IOE. Try to like what print any message or user friendly message as of you. But IO exception is also predefined class. You supposed to like what import from the IO package like this. Okay. So once it is done, say immediately if I run this time I'm getting true and file created successfully. That means file now created successfully. Sir, I wanted to see that file. So for example, if I refresh, where is this refresh option? Yeah, refresh. So see here whether you are observing or not. abc.txt file got created or not, sir. In this way, we are able to create the file. But if you open this abc.txt, nothing is there, sir. You have just created an empty file by using this file predefined class file object itself. Okay. So this is an example for this file creation. So you just try to like what keep it like okay as a backup as a reference. So now once file is getting created, now what operations you are able to perform? What operations you are able to perform? You may perform write operation, you may perform read operation. So first I wanted to insert some data. First I wanted to insert some data into this file. Okay, for this, let me try to like what create a one more file, one more class, sorry, text2. Okay, this is for okay object. I mean, I'm writing this program to perform okay to perform write operation. Write operation means what, sir? You're trying to insert some data into the existing file, that is abc.txt. So for this, define the main method. One second, please. Okay, so you just if you're observing, so I'm just defining the main method. Okay, I'm just defining the main method. We are writing this program to perform a write operation, right? Already file is there, but not, the data was not there. Now I wanted to insert some data. Okay, so for this, what I need to do is, as I told you already, okay, to perform write operation, okay, we are going to use file writer, buffer writer, print writer. So first, let's see regarding file writer class. Okay, first before you are observing, you just try to understand the file writer API in Java. Okay, if I open file writer, you see file writer is the class. For this file writer, who is the superclass? Output stream writer. For this output stream writer, of course, for writer, object is this is the hierarchy. So writer is the class, file writer superclass is output stream writer superclass is writer superclass is of course object. So in this way, you need to understand, and a few methods are there which are coming from predefined superclasses, and a few methods are available here, and of course some constructors are also there itself. So now, if you are observing this constructor to create the file writer object, so file writer is expecting which object? Tell me. File writer is expecting which object? Tell me. File object. Okay, we don't have any default constructor is not there. You may pass the file object, or you may pass the file name, string file name. You may pass the file descriptor object. You may pass the file and as well as what boolean. So like this, we do have some parameterizer constructors are there. So that is the reason if I'm trying to create an object of file writer like this, file writer with an empty default constructor, immediately we are getting the error, sir. Even though if you are importing. Why? Because, because file writer class does not contains any default constructor, any no arg constructor. If you really wanted to create any file writer object, definitely you may pass the file object, you may pass the file descriptor object, you may pass the string object. So something like this. You can. So if that is the case, how can you create the file writer object just by using default constructor? That is the reason it is giving you the error. See here, when you keep the cursor, no sir, it is expecting some arguments. You please try to like what was the according to argument. Sir, file abc.txt is available or not available? Yes, it is available. Then you can pass this string. So then the error is gone. But still, we are getting the error. Why? Because if you are observing this file writer, okay, this particular, so it is throwing which exception? Tell me, IO exception. If any constructor or method is throwing some exception, better you try to keep it in under try and catch block. That is what we learned. Okay. So catch of IO exception, IOE, anything you need to write. So in this way, throws keyword is helpful for us. Okay. In this way, throws keyword is helping for us. IO exception is also available in the java.io package. Just try to like what? Okay. After you create the file writer object, what we need to do is we need to like what? Write some data. So sir, to write the data, you have one method is there, sir. Write method is there, but write method is expecting. So write method is expecting array of characters, write method is expecting integer, write method is expecting string, and we have a write method available as a overloaded method. Based on the requirement, you can pass the corresponding input. Okay, for example, a write method I am passing. Okay, ABC I am passing. Okay, sir, ABC. FW dot write of 1, 2, 3 I am passing. Okay. FW dot write of still anything we can pass. Okay, only character array, integer, string, something like this. Okay, so now write off. Okay, for example, Java free Java sessions, free Java sessions. Okay, so something like this. I'm just writing some data. Okay, system.out.println. Okay, system.write write operation successfully. Write operation successfully. Save it, sir. Once you save it, let me try to like what run as Java application. Write operation successfully. Nothing error you are getting. So, sir, if I open this abc.txt, nothing is coming. Okay, sir, try to like what refresh it and then open abc.txt, but nothing is coming, sir. Why nothing is coming? Anything wrong here? Because you write the data particularly, okay, and then, okay, sorry, let me close this. You write the data because the file abc.txt was available, but still after write operation also that write operation is not going to be happening. Of course, this SOP is not is just printing, but still the write operation is not happening. Why? What is the reason? So, sir, whenever, okay, let's see. Okay, flush method I'm just using, and now I'm trying to like what perform this write operation. Come back to here. Okay, once you open the abc.txt, see here abc. Okay, free Java sessions. But why this? Okay, why this open curly braces? 1 second. Let me save this. But this time, whenever I'm invoking the flush method, write operation is going to be happening. But instead of getting this 1, 2, 3, okay, I'm getting this open curly braces. What is this meaning? So that means for 123, okay, corresponding Unicode character. Okay, this is the Unicode value, whatever the int value you are passing. So corresponding Unicode character is what? Open curly braces. For example, if I'm passing 98, sir, save it. When I try to like what run this, okay, when I open this abc.txt, see this time B is coming. So that means what, sir? For this 98 corresponding Unicode character is what? B itself. So in this way, so even though you are trying to store integer value, internally it is getting converted into the corresponding, come on please, corresponding Unicode character, and that data is getting stored itself. Okay, that data is getting stored. And moreover, and the entire data, ABC, 98, free Java. So this is the drawback. So why this is the drawback? Sir, you are trying to store 98, sir. You're trying to store 98. but internally it is getting converted into the corresponding Unicode character. That is what exactly you are not required. So that is one drawback. And one more drawback, it's not a drawback actually, because see, the entire data is getting stored in the single line, but I wanted to like what split. So if you really wanted to split the data, okay, so you supposed to like what give this backward slash n. What do you mean by this backward slash n? What is the meaning of this wildcard character? So after storing this ABC, it is just storing the new line also. Okay, in this way you need to understand. See here also I'm just giving, okay, 1 second. 98 plus. I think if I'm giving like this, maybe it will come. 1 second. Let me see when I try to store abc.txt. Yeah, you see ABC 98 free Java sessions. But this time it is just storing, okay, 98 only. Why? Because, sir, why it is coming 98? Tell me. Because whenever you are trying to add anything to the string, that will be treated as what? A string only. Right now, it is just displaying like an integer value, but it is not an integer value, sir. It is a string value only. But if you are understanding, if you are not understanding, you just anything plus string is string only. That is what you need to remember, sir. fw.write of 100 I am storing, sir. When I am trying to run this now, okay, when I am opening this abc.txt, yes, now you're trying to store 100, but it is converting into the corresponding Unicode character, but that is what exactly I'm not. So, but here, two things I'm just taking care, sir. One thing I'm not able to perform using this file writer class. So even though you're trying to store integer value, it is getting converted into corresponding Unicode character. That is first drawback. And moreover, for the new line, you supposed to like what add this backward slash n for each and every data at the end of the that particular data. While you are performing this write operation, programmer always focusing on what the data, not on what this line separation and all these things. So, and moreover, it is not a good practice to add this backward slash n. And why? Because this backward slash n implementation done in C language. So that means what? It is a platform dependent. It may work in your operating system. It may not work in some other operating system. Presently, right now, I'm using Windows operating system, in particular Byte. So now it is working. So if you do the same thing in your machine, it may work or may not work. This line separation may or may not work. That is the reason we are not sure whether it is working or not. So that is the reason people are going for file writer to next level class. That is what? A buffered writer. So whatever the classes I'm explaining, all these are what, sir? Character stream related classes, meaning that 16 bits at a time. Internally, character is storing 2 bytes. 2 bytes means 16 bits. Flow is happening character by character while you are performing read or write operation. This is what you need to understand. I hope you got the clarity. So you understood the drawbacks of this file writer. So after this, that is the reason. And one more point I forgot to tell you. For example, if I'm not for example, if I'm keeping this line in comment, save it. When I try to run this, when I open this abc.txt, nothing is there. Meaning that whenever you are performing any write operation, okay, make sure you have to like what use, okay, flush method. Make sure you have to like what use flush method. Okay, then only this write operation will be performed. Yes. So that is the recommendation. So there is a reason also there, sir, why we have to like what use flush method, but that is not required actually, but it's okay. See, so you just try to like what remember whenever I'm performing the write operation, make sure it is highly recommended to like what invoke one more method at last, that is flush method. Then only write operations has done successfully. This is what you please try to remember itself. Okay. So, and after this, so we will go to like what, to overcome these drawbacks. And moreover, for example, fw.write off, I want to like what store boolean value, nothing, it is not possible. I want to like what store, okay, double value, nothing, it is not possible. Because of write method, we don't have any overloaded method which is accepting this kind of values, right? So that is the reason this one is also not possible. So to overcome these kind of drawbacks, we will move from file writer class to next level class. That is what buffered writer. What is that? Tell me, please. All of you tell me buffered writer. So, but before this, But before this, I'm just giving you this one as an example. Let me come back to here. Okay, Control C. Okay, Control V. So now we will go to like what buffer reader, buffer writer, right? Buffer writer. So, but before buffer writer, what are the drawbacks? Tell me. Drawbacks of file writer is what? Drawbacks of file writer is what? Okay, adding backward slash n. Okay, for new line. Okay, it is not recommended because it may work. Okay, it may not work in all operating systems. Okay, since it got implemented, okay, in C language. So second one is what? Okay, we are not allowed to store specific format, specific type of data. Okay, for example, okay, if we try to store, okay, integer, if you try to like what store integer data, it is getting automatically converted. It is automatically getting converted into character, uh, Unicode character, Unicode character. Okay, and which is not desired. Okay, data. It's not desired data. To avoid this, we will go for what buffer writer itself. So let me see first buffer writer also. Let me see the buffer writer also. Buffered writer. Okay, API. Open the docs.oracle.com. Here, buffer writer is also extending from writer class object. Okay, but writer is an abstract class. You can't create an object. But if you see, buffer writer is expecting. Okay, we don't have any default constructor. One is expecting the writer object. Okay, so and that means you have to pass the writer object. But when you click on this writer is what kind of class? Tell me. Writer is what kind of class? Tell me. Public abstract class. So if it is an abstract class, you can't create an object. But for this abstract class, we have so many implementation classes or concrete classes are there, like file writer, output stream writer, pipe writer, something like print writer, string writer, like this. So meaning that, okay, my meaning is, since buffered writer is expecting writer class object, first you have to create the writer class object and you have to pass that object to the constructor of the buffer writer. Then only we are able to create the buffer writer object. But here also writer is a abstract class. You can't create the object directly. You may opt for what again implementation class. Either it might be file writer, writer, or file output stream. So many are there, right? So it depends on the requirement. We will choose that implementation class, and then we can pass that object to this constructor as a parameter. Then we can create the buffer writer object. And we do have so many methods are there. Let's see. One method I wanted to explain. What is that method? New line. Sir, this new line is for what? You can easily guess it now. Writes a line separator. So in case of file writer, we don't have any such kind of Java related method for the new line. But in buffer writer, they have implemented that and they gave one predefined method, new line. And whenever you invoke that, the line separator is going to be happening. That means as a programmer, we are always happily to focus on the data only, not on the line separator and all these things. And for sure, in any operating system, it will work because this new line method got implemented, of course, in Java language. So let's see one program so that you will get the clarity. Okay, so that you will get the clarity itself. Come back to here. Let's try to like what define this as test3 class. Okay, here define the main method. Now. Here define the main method. Here buffered writer, I am creating the object buffered writer bw equals to new. Okay, buffered writer. Come on, please. Buffered writer. But buffered writer is expecting you without an object, without parameter, you can't create an object because such kind of constructor is not there. So, but what it is expecting, writer object it is expecting. But writer object you can't create. Writer obj equals to new writer. Okay, you can't create the object directly. Why? Because of writer is we even though we importing, immediately you are getting an error saying that writer cannot instantiate the type of the writer. Why? Because sir, because writer is an abstract class. So if writer is an abstract class, can I take the implementation class help? Happily you can take. But why we are getting this? Okay, import file writer. But still we are getting the error because we don't have any default constructor like this. File writer is expecting the file or file object. So here I am passing abc.txt. Save it. Okay, now the error is gone, right? So now, since now while you are creating the buffer writer object, you have to pass this obj. But buffer writer is throwing this constructor, file writer constructor is throwing some exception. That is the reason you have to keep it in under try and catch block itself. Under try and catch block itself. Okay, now IO exception, IO system.out.println save it. So, sir, IO exception is also predefined class. You make sure you have to import after. So, with this, after creating the file writer object along with the file, you pass that object and you are able to create the buffer writer object. Sir, already some data is there, right? So now, okay, now the data is not there, right? If I open this ABC, okay, test3, okay, nothing is there. Okay, now we'll try to like what write some data. Buffer write, again, we have some methods are there. Buffer writer of 100, okay, bw dot write of ABC, okay, bw dot write off, okay, learner stop, okay, bw dot, okay, write off rk, so bw dot, okay, write off, okay, vha systems, vha sys, okay, so like this we have some data is there, assume. But if I try to like what run this system.out.println write operation, one user friendly message you can write, write operation has done. So let me save this. When I try to run this, immediately you are coming, and when I open this abc.txt, nothing is coming. As I told you already, whenever you are performing this write operation, make sure you have to use flush method. Don't forget. So when I try to run this write operations has done successfully, if I open, see here d is coming. Why this d is coming, sir? Because of, even though you are passing 100, it is getting converted into unicode character. ABC is fine, learner stop is fine, rk is fine, vhsys is fine. But since it is appending or storing in a single line, you know already which method you have to invoke. Which method? Tell me. New line. bw dot new line. Here also bw dot new line. Okay, here also bw dot new line. That's it. Save it. And when I try to run this, immediately write operation has done successfully, and this is also fine. But new line problem we are able to resolve, but here still we are not able to resolve this conversion. The specific data type is getting converted into unicode character, and that only is getting stored. But that is not we are looking for. Okay, so this is a basic example of what buffer writer itself. Okay, example I am just giving. And before example, what are the drawbacks? Tell me here. Only one drawback. So what is the what is the one drawback? Tell me. Using buffer writer, we are not allowed to store, okay, specific type of data, specific type of, for example, okay, if we pass integer data, it is converted into unicode character, converted and get stored, which is not desired. Okay, which is not a desired value. Okay, what programmer is expecting. So to avoid this drawback, come on please, to avoid this drawback, okay, people will go for, or programmers will go for, okay, which class? Tell me. Next level class. That is what? Tell me. Print writer. Okay, what is it? Tell me. Print writer itself. I'm telling you, print writer is the important, and then it's a powerful predefined class. Print writer is the powerful predefined class to perform, okay, write operation on top of character stream related classes. Okay, to perform powerful class comparatively, like previous classes like file writer and then buffer writer. Why? Because new line issue will easily get resolved. Of course, it got resolved even in buffer writer only. New line issue, got resolved, and any type of data we can store. Any type of data we can store using print writer class, pre capital and W capital itself. Okay, na? So we'll see programmatically, but before programmatically, let's show you print writer API in Java by opening docs.oracle.com. Here you observe, okay, print writer First observe the controller. I mean, print writer is expecting the file object. Print writer is expecting the string. Okay, print writer is expecting the writer. So many overloaded constructors are there. Based on your comfort, your requirement, you can use any one. And you see so many methods are there. Here, print, it is expecting the boolean. Print, char, so float, int. Here we are not using write method. Here we are using print method. Even though by using print method we are able to store a specific type of data, since we have different overloaded print methods are there which are accepting different types of data itself. Let's see programmatically so that you will get the clarity whether we are able to do the same kind of operations or not. For this I am taking test4 as my predefined class, and here I am defining the main method. Here I am defining the main method, save it. So we need to create an object of which one, tell me? Print writer, right? Print writer pw equals to new print writer. Let me save this, control shift o, let me save this. Okay, after this immediately we are getting the error. So because print writer class does not contains any default constructor. Okay, pass abc.txt, but before this abc.txt any data is there? Yes, it is there. Let me remove it and then save it. Okay, sir. So but print writer is throwing one exception. So where do you keep? Under try and catch block, you know already. Okay, so try catch of IO exception, IOE, system.out.println of IOE, save it. So now IO exception is also one of the predefined class. You need to import like this. Okay, so after print writer object creation, what we have to do? We have to write what? Write the data. Okay, what kind of write the what kind of data you need to write? pw.println. Ln means what, sir? It will write the data and it will write the new line also. So that's just adding ln, that's it. Okay, you don't need to like what go for any specific separate method like buffer writer new line method. It is just an after all appending ln. Okay, ln stands for it will write the data and it will enter into the new line also. Okay, for example 100 I am passing. Okay, that is fine. pw.println of, okay, abc. Okay, that is also fine. pw.println of, okay, rama. Okay, that is also fine. pw.println of learner stop. Okay, this is also fine. Like this. And pw.println of true boolean data we can add. pw.println of 23.45, this boolean double data also we can add. Any type of data we can add. So after this system.out.println of, come on please. Okay, write operation has done successfully. Or write operation has done, just simply one SOP message. Immediately when I run this application, this is coming, but when I open abc.txt, nothing is coming. As I told you, whenever you are performing any write operation, please try to like what call the flush method, then only try to run it and then open this abc.txt. This entire, if you are observing this output, see, you just if you are observing this particular output, come on, in the test4, if you are observing this output, okay, if you are observing this output here, okay, here if you are observing this output, okay, control me, save it. So 100, yes, 100 only getting stored. abc rama learners tab true 23.45. So any type of data you are able to store, and with just by adding ln, it is just a line separation is also happening. That is the reason comparatively in character stream related classes, when you compare with remaining file writer and then buffer writer, print writer is efficiently one of the powerful class to perform the write operation. I hope you understand. Let me copy this and I'm just giving you as the backup. You just observe here. We do have like different methods are there. That is only the reason. See, from previous class to like what this class, see, some little improvements are there. That is the reason. If anybody is asking while you are performing the write operation or performing the output stream, okay, if it is a character stream related classes, if your operation is something like performing the write operations on top of the text files, then preferably you can go for what, either print writer or file writer or buffer writer. That's it. So in case of file writer and then buffer writer, we are using write method. But in case of print writer, we are using write method, which are accepting like different types of data. But this kind of method is not available inside the file writer and then buffer writer. So this is all about what? Performing the write operation on top of the character stream related classes, like file writer, buffer writer, and then print writer. So now we are trying to like what perform now read operation. Read operation on top of, okay, character stream related classes only. So we do have like two classes are there. One is okay, file reader is there, sir. File reader is there. Another one is what, sir? Buffer reader is there, sir. So first file reader we'll see, sir. File reader. What do you mean by file reader? Tell me. I told you already, this is used to like what perform the read operation. Read operation means what's an input stream operation. Okay, meaning that data flow is happening from where to where? Secondary memory to okay primary memory. Okay, so because of that, data is available inside the file. File is available in the hard disk. Hard disk belongs to secondary memory. Now you are executing the program, so that data is supposed to come from there to here itself. Meaning that from secondary memory to primary memory. Okay, how can you create the object of file reader to perform this read operation? First, check the API, sir. For everything, check the API once. Okay, now file reader. Okay, file reader. So if you are observing, file reader is the class. For this class, this input stream reader is the super class. For this reader is the in super class. For this reader object. And inside this, we do have some predefined constructors are there. File reader is expecting the file object or string object or file descriptor object. It depends on the requirement itself. Since we have a file, we can opt for this. Okay, now and we have like a different methods are there. I will tell you which method we have to like what use to perform the read operation. Under this, define this class as a test file, sir. 1 second, sir. Okay, so here you just define the main method, sir. You just define the main method here. Now I'm going to like what create the object of file reader. File reader fr equals to new file reader. Let me save this, but immediately we are getting the error because of file reader is available inside the IO package, even though it is giving you the error because of it is expecting some object. Okay, since file is available, you can pass this string object only to this constructor abc.txt. That the error is gone. No, because of file reader is throwing some exception, IO exception. Better to like what keep it in where, sir? Try and catch block. Otherwise, this also will give you the error. Catch of IO exception. IOE is capital, remaining all are what smaller because of system.out.println of IOE. Save it. IO exception is also you supposed to import. Right. After you create the file reader object, you supposed to know already what kind of data is available. abc.txt is available. Okay, let me close all. Okay, test 5 open. Okay, test 5 open. 1 second. abc.txt open. Let me close this, clear this. Okay, just keep this here. Test 5. Now, after file reader object creation, now, okay, I want to like what read this. So, if you read method integer, read method type is what, sir? Int I x equals to save it. Okay, system.out.println of x. Okay, since read method return type is integer, I stored that result inside the integer variable and I am printing. When I try to run this, okay, what is coming, sir? Nothing is coming. Okay, in the console is the below 49 is coming. But if you open abc.txt, okay, 100 is there. If 100 is there, why we are getting the 49? If 100 is there, why we are getting 49? Okay. So if 100 is there for this 100, so it will be considered as read method return type is what this 100 is expecting. For example, 1 second. Why this 100 is converting? For example, 1 second. If I am converting this into character or else character, save it. No, okay, fine. When I try to run this, okay, it is giving you 1. Okay, so don't get confused. For example, sir, let me, so like this, we have a data something like this, just for understanding. Here, okay, right now, ABC, okay, A is there. Let me save this. Let me save this. My abc.txt contains A is the first character, that is the data. Now, when I try to run this, now 97 is coming. What do you mean by 97? Tell me. So 97 is the corresponding Unicode character, sir. 97 is the okay corresponding Unicode character. Okay, for this 97 value, I mean for this whatever the A is there, for this A 97 is the corresponding Unicode character value. Okay, so but what I want, the exact A I want. So that means you supposed to like what convert this integer data into character data by using typecast operator. When I try to perform this, I'm getting A only. I'm getting what? A only. For example, if my data has ABC, save it. When I come back to here, try to like what run it. So you're getting A only because it is not considering like the entire ABC. It is just taking the first letter and then that letter only is coming, but that is not the desired output itself. That is not the desired output, sir. That is not at all the desired output. We need ABC. I want to read it right. So I wanted to like what read accordingly the same entire stuff. I wanted to read it. But how can you do this? How much data is there? First of all, so much data. Many lines of code is there. Okay, but how can you perform this? How can you perform this, sir? So you have to like what? See. So while of x not equals to -1. Sir, for every character, try to understand it's a very, very important. Every character, there is a Unicode value. Whether it is an alphabet or a special character, for everything, there is a Unicode value. If there is no Unicode value, it is returning -1, sir. So if it is returning -1, meaning is what? If it is returning -1, there is nothing to read. If it is not equals to -1, there is something is there to read in that way. So now, so system dot out dot println of system dot out dot println of x. System dot out dot println of x. After this, also x equals to fr dot read. Okay, for one more character itself. So now this time my abc.txt contains this is the data. Okay, now text dot abc. If I run this application, see you just observe here 97, 98, 99, all these letters are there, but these are going to be converted into like what? These are going to be converted into like what? Integers itself because of read method is returning integer value. But if I'm using char, when I try to run this, okay, now here you see ABC is coming, sir. Okay, Rama is coming, learner stop is coming, true is coming, 23.25, everything is coming, sir. But how it is coming, sir? Character by character, just to print accordingly. I'm using print method. So you see right now, if you are observing this read method, I mean the console, all the data we are able to read. But whether you know or not, how this read operation is going to be happening, character by character. First, it will check for the first letter, first character. Okay, that means data flow is going to be happening from secondary memory to primary memory. Like this, for every character, the read operation is going to be happening. So how many characters are there? Almost if it contains 50 characters, 50 times the number of to and fro calls are going to be happening in between secondary memory to primary memory. But that is not at all recommended. Instead of performing those many read operations in between those two memories, I wanted to reduce those to and fro calls so that accordingly traffic will be reduced, performance of the application will be improved. So that is the reason people will go for what? Next level class, that is buffered reader. So this is all about what? File reader. This is all about what? File reader. So the major point here you need to like what understand with respect to program is this one only. For if anything is there, for everything, there is a Unicode character. Okay, when Unicode character is returning -1, if there is nothing in your file to read. So if there is nothing, if it is returning -1, control comes out of the loop, sir. Control comes out of the loop. You can close the file. You can close the file. What is the file close here? F file reader, right? You can close it here. fr dot close. Happily you can close it. So in this way, you need to understand. Okay, so if there is something to read, it is not returning -1. So that is the reason for every character, since we are performing the read operation, okay, so it is returning Unicode character value. It is going and then checking, okay, whether it is returning -1 or not. If it is not, you just try to like what print it. Why I am using print method? Just to display the data instead of character by character. Instead of I wanted to like what display in a line by line. That is the reason I am using print method. That is the one of the important formatting thing itself. Okay, so I hope you understand this particular program to perform this read operation by using file reader class read method. Okay, used to read operation. Okay, read method return type is okay integer. Okay, if we want to okay convert into okay character, okay use typecast operator and then okay use typecast operator, and then specify the desired data type, so that int obviously will be converted into the character, so then it is valid. So if I'm giving the example here, like this. But what is the drawback? Tell me here. What is the drawback? Okay, since it is a character stream related classes, okay, character by character, read operation is happening, so that in between, okay, secondary memory to primary memory, primary memory, number of to and fro calls gets increased, okay, or else traffic gets increased, okay. Because of this performance, because of this performance may be degraded, okay, may be degraded. This is why, okay, we will go for, okay, next level class, that is buffered reader. I hope you understand, right? So buffered reader itself, buffered reader, let me save this buffered reader. So first, since buffer reader is coming into the picture, if I'm opening buffer reader class in Java, if you open our docs.oracle.com, see here buffer reader is one of the predefined class, which is the reader is the superclass for this reader object. Here again, reader is also what's an abstract class. You can't create an object. So, but if you are observing buffer reader, it is expecting buffer reader object only. But if I open this reader, since reader is an abstract class, you can't create an object. For this buffer reader. So many implementation classes are there, like buffer reader, array reader, string reader, filter reader, like this you have. Okay. So, but before you are creating the buffer reader object, you can create the object of file reader and you can pass that. So if you are observing, let me close all. Let me define this class as the test6. Okay, now I wanted to perform, write this program to perform the read operation. Okay, performing read operation using buffer reader class. What is the ultimate goal? I wanted to reduce the number of to and fro calls. Reduce the number of to and fro calls in between secondary memory to primary memory. So if this is the case, define the main method, create the object of what's a buffer reader class. How can you create? You can't create an object of buffer reader class directly using default constructor, because the default constructor was not there. Okay, new buffer reader, if I'm using Control Shift O, even though it is you can't create, so it is expecting what? Reader object. But before reader object, you supposed to what? Create the reader object. Directly you can't create. Reader obj equals new reader, you can't create. Why? Because that's spelling mistake. Reader is available. Reader is the predefined abstract class. You can't create. What is the implementation class? File reader. Okay, so many are there, but I am using file reader. But file reader constructor, no default constructor. It is expecting some file, so I am passing. So then you can pass this reader object to this buffer reader constructor, to this buffer reader constructor. So then you are able to create the object of buffer reader. But still we are getting the error. File reader constructor is giving you some exception. So that is the reason. Okay, that is the reason you better to keep it in under try and catch block. Okay, so under try and catch block, IOE system.out.println, IOE, save it. Control Shift O is for importing IO exception. Okay, na? So ultimately we are creating the buffer reader object. So now I wanted to perform the read operation from the abc.txt only. So for this, now this time I am not using read method. Sir, whenever you are using read method, it will be reading the data from character by character. Okay, now if I am using read line method, so line by line reading is going to be happening, but this kind of method was not there inside the file reader. That is the reason they implement, I mean, they improve like this just by adding this method, so that using this class we are able to invoke this read line method. Accordingly, the read operation is going to be happening line by line itself. But if you are observing the read line method, return type is what's a string itself. Okay, so read line. So if I am using string result, first ఒక్క లైన్ కోసం system.out.println of result save it, sir. What is the first line of abc.txt, sir? abc, right? If I run this abc is coming. What about remaining lines, sir? What about remaining lines? So how can you make this happen? If result, sir, result is of string type, sir, where string is a class, that means it can be considered as what? Object. If result not equals to null, okay na, if result not equals to null, if is working while we have to use while of result not equals to null, meaning that what, sir? There is something is there to read, sir. When it will be, when this read line method is returning the null, because if there is nothing to read. So if something is there to read, I am just checking with respect to what? If result is not equals to null, if result is not equals to null, what you need to do? You just print this result, sir. You just print this result, and along with that, for next line you need to like what? Perform again this br dot read line method, like this, right? After this while loop, okay, after this while loop, try block is over, catch block is over, and before defining this closing this main method, you have to try and catch, right? 1 second. Okay. Mm, close this, close the file. So what is this? Close. Okay, what are those objects now? Okay, you are creating these objects inside the try block only, right? So that is the reason I have to close here only. Close the files like this. Close the file. What are the two objects? Tell me. Obj dot close and br dot close. Okay, save it. Okay. If you are defining in a class level variables, you can close before the main method, but it is also fine, sir. Not a problem. Okay. Okay, so if I run this application, when I try to run this, see here, ABC Rama learner stop true 23.45. But how many read operations are going to be happening? Only 6 times, because of 6 lines are available. In this way, we are able to like what? Reduce the traffic in between secondary memory to primary memory by using this buffer data class. So in previous, we are just cross checking with -1, but right now we are just checking whether we are comparing whether the data is there or not by using null. Why? Because my data return type is what? A string type. Since string is an object type, obviously if an object contains data or not, we can compare by using null only. Okay, if so, that is the reason I'm just cross checking with respect to null itself. So why previously I am comparing with -1? Because that time read method is returning what? Integer value. So that is the reason I am just comparing with what? -1, whether the data is there or not. Okay, I checked like that. Okay, so this is one example of what's a buffer reader class. Okay, this is an example. So you need to focus on the predefined constructors, what those constructors are expecting. Accordingly, we have to create the prerequisite object for that object, and accordingly we have to pass that object as a parameter, so that we can create the corresponding objects, and on top of that object we can we can invoke the corresponding methods to perform these read and write operations. So this is all about what? Performing the input and output operations on top of the files, especially using character stream related classes. Okay, so in the next class I will show you few classes, okay, on top of performing read and write operations only, but I will try to like what? Take byte stream related classes. Okay, so that we can understand different stream related classes, and followed by like serialization concept, deserialization also we'll see. Okay, I hope you understand. Please try to like what? Follow these sessions, and try to like what? If any queries you have, please try to post it in the comment section, so accordingly I can clarify your doubts. Please try to like what? Share this video to your needy friends. Okay, thank you.